Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to a brisk spring morning in Arden, North Carolina. I am at the Lake Julian Disc Golf Course, which is a course that I have a tournament on tomorrow as of when I'm recording this video, but it'll be a little while ago by the time you guys see this video, so I'll hopefully be able to put some stuff in there about that. But we're going to do post commentary on this one, as I like to do in my practice rounds, just so I can focus on playing a little bit more and figuring out the lines and such. So we're playing the 18-hole tournament layout at Lake Julian Park. I will see you guys on the course, and get ready to say hi to post commentary Tim. Alright guys, post commentary Tim here, also known as the MA3 champion of the Lake Julian Open. That's right guys, I won the freaking tournament. Let's go. Anyways, hole 1, 237 feet, right up the middle. And we end up kind of yanking this one, which I did actually twice in the tournament. So, you know, I'm by now used to being over there, but this was recorded before. So let's see where we landed. I think it's going to be okay. We landed, yeah, in a pretty decent spot. Off to the left side of the basket here, and, boom, actually it's the right side from the tee pad, and we bang our birdie there. On to hole 2. 251 feet. We're throwing an arowana because there's a lake off to the right, and if you hit a tree just right, you're going to end up in there. So figure I'd use a soft disc to not end up in the water. I actually bogeyed this possibly a few times in the tournament. This hole's actually trickier than it seems. End up hitting a tree in the middle there and kicking left. We have a little forehand with the gnome, so we're hoping to skip this one in here, and it actually counter skips a bit and ends up landing in a pretty weird spot behind a tree. So let's see kind of how we can handle this one. Alright, so we got a straddle putt here, just to the left side of the basket, and we're gonna see if we can just hit this straddle putt. Bang, we do. So that's a 3 there, which is a par, so you know, nothing really to complain about there. Let's see how we keep it going. Alright, so we are 1 down through 2. Next hole, we're throwing the arowana again. It is a 265-foot par 3. Basically dead straight, but there, as you can see, are a lot of trees. And you know what? Believe it or not, I actually did that in the tournament as well. The early release, because the lake is off to the right. And yeah, this one actually doesn't end up too bad, I don't think. Let's see where we are. Yeah, so here we are with the gnome. We are going to do a little forehand approach here. And yeah, throw it a little higher than I want to. Really calling for it to get down. Actually ends up pretty far off to the right side there. We're going to see what we're left with putt-wise. And here we are. We're, yep, behind the tree there. Could be worse. We're about maybe 20. And we've got a pretty elevated basket on top of a stump there. So let's see if we can bang this one for another par. We cannot. Oh boy, and we're rolling. That should be makeable. Second try, way over the top. So we're going to take a bogey here. We're going to go back to even, it looks like. But, you know, we'll get him next time. And here we are on to the next hole, which is hole 4 technically. But I actually completely play this wrong right now. I'm throwing the hatchet. We're playing from what is technically hole 5's tee pad to hole 7's basket. I read UDisc completely wrong, but I threw just the prettiest turnover ever with that hatchet. So let's see where we end up here. Hatchet is actually sick. Alright, so if you look off to the right there, you can see that that is the tee pad I should have been playing from this whole entire time. So actually, second round of this tournament, this was during my not so good time, and I got a 6 on this hole. As you can see, things seem to be pretty sloped right to left. So what actually ended up happening was, you know, I threw my putt and it ended up rolling all the way down and out of bounds. We're gonna throw our second shot here because that first one hit a tree. And that hatchet just kept on turning. I think we're going to play it from the PD2, so let's see how it goes. Alright, yeah, so here we are from that PD2 shot. I'm going to throw my Nordic Phenom, which is a PD, so we went from PD2 to PD. We're throwing a forehand again because the basket is up to the right, and that looks fantastic. Fading and beautiful third shot there on the par 4, which I believe is only 515 feet, or it might even be less than that. Let me look real quick. 456. That's it. So we're just going to take our medicine here. I think we're taking a bogey on this one. So you can see kind of those bushes over there to the left. That's kind of where I rolled off to. It got pretty ugly there, but we took a 5 on this one. And now we are on to hole 5. So this is 270-foot par 3. It's kind of just behind that tree with all the vines on it dead ahead there. I like to throw the pine on a little bit of a kind of a force over, and then it fades out. And I know you can't see the basket from here, but you will see where we are once we get to the putt. So, alright, so we kind of trickled off to the left here. I've got a a stepper here for our birdie, so we'll see if we can bang this. Yeah, I'm off in the bushes here, which really isn't OB. That one, you see the headwind, that one floated like crazy, and yeah, we make the correction there, bang. So we're gonna take a par on that one because we don't count second putts, but you know, we'll take it. All right, next up is hole 6, but it's technically hole 6 for the tournament layout, hole 9 for the actual course. We're throwing the pine. It's approximately 275 feet. Really freaking love this disc, man. As you can see, that thing just really parked itself. I actually ended up, I think, going a little bit long, but we'll see where we landed here in a second. And yep, there we are, a little bit long. We're not going to count that putt. We're taking the birdie. Anyways, moving on to hole 10. We're going to stay with the hot hand here. 287 feet with the pine. We're going to throw a little force over here, I believe. And yeah, let's see. This is actually like the sickest shot I've ever had on this hole, and it is not the play that I used in the tournament. In the tournament, I threw my harp just past that tree that's way down there in the middle because, as you can see, we kind of end up having to throw down a tunnel here. But, I mean, on this one, we might as well run it because that was kind of a ridiculous shot. I've never been in jump putt range in one on this hole, but it looks like either way, we're taking a par. So, no big deal. All right, we are on to hole 8 here, 290 feet. As you can see, the line is real tight down that left side. I actually like to take the up and around line on the right side there and let it fade back in. First round of the tournament, that's way too low, by the way. First round of the tournament, I actually tried to throw down the middle line, ended up out of bounds in a really bad spot and took a 6. Second round, okay, somehow we made it back in bounds there, but second round, I threw that same shot and basically landed here and ended up taking a par. So I think that just kind of goes to show, stick to the game plan, whether it seems like the right play or not sometimes. So here's seeing if we can make our par. This is kind of a tricky putt around the tree. It's kind of long. Yeah, that one's not happening. So we're going to take another bogey here. But that is, you know, not the worst thing in the world. That's a pretty difficult hole. So here we are onto hole number 9. It is 300 feet. I'm throwing my essence. I really like to throw kind of like a fairly flat essence. The pin's basically straight ahead. You just got to throw, yeah, I like to throw that kind of hyzer flip line. Throw it a little bit flatter than I normally would, let it turn, and then fade. So we're going to end up with kind of a long putt there, but it's a safe shot. If too much turn, and it can end up down in the road. So definitely don't want to do that. So here we are, kind of from circle 2 here. Downhill putt, roll away chance. We're just sending it. Bang, in. And then, you know, on this one I was like, you know what? Freaking twice hurts luck. Here we go. And boom, we do it again. I actually made basically that same putt in round 1 of the tournament. Round 2 I laid up because it was a little windier and I was a little further out. Alright, so hole 10 here, 309 feet. We're throwing a paradox. You kind of got to get down there and get right. And that is just a grip locked, absolutely horrific shot. So I think we might take another try at this one. Because we're going to actually throw my tournament play here, which I used in both rounds. Which I think, yep, FD1 forehand. Just like to use it to get it out there. I don't mind being too far right here, which this one kind of ends up being, but it's really not a bad place to be. You'll see once we get down there. So we're going to play that second one. And yeah, here we are. Just kind of, you just saw Deb's throw in there into the river there. But yeah, this leaves us with a stepper. I was actually almost banged that one, but actually made par on this once and bogey on this once. So yeah, you know, you win some, you lose some. Now we're on to just a brutal hole. This is hole 12 long, 492 feet. Basically straight ahead, but as you can see, it's a super tight gap. I did not nail it, and I kicked right. So this is going to be ugly. In the tournament, I actually laced this, and I actually parred this hole both times, believe it or not. But probably not going to happen here because I am deep in the woods, and we're just going to try and pitch out here and hope for the best. First round, I piped it, ended up all the way down by the power lines that you're about to see. And second round, kind of threw into the ground, ended up short, and then was able to throw up to where you need to kind of lay up to get across. So, and that across being a giant swamp full of cattails. As you can see, that shot, kind of that perfect layup. We're now going to throw a gnome. This is actually basically exactly where I ended up in round 2 after 2 shots, and then my third landed almost to the exact same spot where this one landed, just a little bit deep up on the hill with a putt for par, but in this case I think we took a bogey. Anyways, here is hole 12. I believe 275 feet. We're throwing our method here. I kept discing up in the tournament because I just can never get to this basket. I always land in the same spot, which is down on this dirt road. Yeah, I mean, I disked all the way up to a Vila and ended up with just my best look at it yet. So this one was a method, didn't get very close, leaves us with a jump putt for birdie. We hit cage, almost nailed it, but we are going to take our par there. No big deal. All right, hole 13, basically dead straight, downhill slightly, 309 feet. Threw my judge both times in the tournament here, and both times had a very similar result to this one. Ended up starting it a little bit too wide and just thinking it was going to fade more than it actually did. Ending up pin high, but definitely way too far to the right. So we end up with a stepper, and it's going to be off to the right here. So the death putt, not really in play. If you land short, it's a death putt down that hill, but oh, we're laying up anyway. All right, and let's see what would happen if we ran it. We would have missed it. So there's our par on that one. And on to hole 14 now, 297 feet. Slightly to the left, you really just got to get through the trees. During the tournament, this was actually, second round, this was the last hole that I played. On this one, we're going to kick way left and not be so good, but this was the last hole I played, and I was 1 stroke off the lead. I ended up puring my tee shot all the way down the middle with the KC Pro Rock. Ended up just on the other side of that dirt mound that you see there, and had about a 25-footer for birdie, which I hit, expecting to go into a playoff, but the guy that was leading at the time actually bogeyed his last hole, and so I ended up taking the win, which is just absolutely incredible. Anyways, here we are for our par after that wonderful second shot, and we floated it right over the top. But yeah, this was the hole on which I won this tournament. So yeah, this one holds a special place in my heart now because I'd never birdied it before that day. And here we are on hole 15, and this is going to be the Sampo. This is a 611-foot par 4. I've never thrown the Sampo before. I thought it was going to be a little bit flippier than it was. This one actually ends up going way out of bounds. I did throw the Sampo in the tournament first round, and I ended up taking a par. I threw a massive Anheuser. It ended up being a decent shot. Now we're going to throw the hatchet, which was my tournament play for round 2, which is a hole that I birdied. Threw a big hyzer that just flipped, turned. I mean, it was just one of the most beautiful shots ever. It was so good. This is when I found out that the hatchet is indeed a fantastic disc that makes me feel huge. The shot in the tournament must have been well over 400 feet. All I had to do was throw a harp in, which is probably what we're going to have now. So yeah, here we are. Actually, in the tournament, I landed probably like 40 feet past that brown pole that you see in front of me. We are throwing the harp in here, and I think we're going to land just a little bit short, but that is definitely the play. And yeah, let's see what we're left with putt-wise here. All right, yeah, we definitely don't have a putt. I actually ended up behind the next tree in the tournament and ended up taking a birdie in the second round, which was pretty dang nice. Moving on now to hole 16, which is 250 feet. I'm playing from the wrong tee pad here. I thought I was playing from the longs. Turns out I was actually playing from that tee pad just up there to the right that you can see. But that's neither here nor there. We're going to throw our harp after we wait for this car to go by. Sorry, not a harp. It's going to be a gnome. And yeah, during the tournament, I also got this one on the last round. I was birdie machine on that last round. That one, as you can see, kind of skipped off the wire there, which was a very interesting and ended up being a really funny flight. We're not messing with this putt. We're laying it up. As you can see, there is death behind. Yeah, no on that one. We're going to take our par and walk away. All right, up next is a 420-foot par 4. You kind of have to throw along this road, which is the only raised part, and then either side of it is the lake. So this one's a little bit scary. We're going to throw a gnome here just as kind of a layup shot. This needs to get down. That did. So in the tournament, we actually threw first round into the right side trees, second round through dead center of the fairway. We are kind of slightly off to the left side here, but we could definitely be in a worse spot. And Joe's going to kind of get in the way here, but there's our shot. hoping for a little bit more fade than we get. End up just kind of at the top of the hill looking down at the basket. So this should be a pretty reasonable par to get. With the camera. We're just going to toss this guy on down here, not really messing with it. Really fudged that one up. As you can see, it really started getting windy here. And this is kind of a death shot because you can see the water there just behind the basket. We're going to have to do a straddle putt here and see if we can make it, which we can. So that's our par. I did take a par on the second round, bogey on the first actually after going into the bushes. So hole 18 here, nice and short, like 200-ish feet. It's so windy. I'm throwing the splice. I threw the splice both times in the tournament, and I birdied both times in the tournament. We're not going to see a birdie here, but that's okay. Actually, threw my best tournament ever. It was a +1 on the first round, which got me a 909 rating, -1 on the background for 928. 919 event rating, which is my best by far. So yeah. All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Shot a +2 on the tournament layout at Lake Julian, which was 189 rated on UDisc, which means it's about 880 rated, give or take, on PDGA. It got crazy windy at the end, so that definitely made for some interesting situations. Really looking forward to the tournament. I feel like I got a decent look at the lines and an idea of what's going on. So if I get back in time, or if I record or edit this video at the right time, I will kind of add in some things that I did in the tournament and tell you guys how I did. So stay tuned for that, and I will catch you guys on the next one. See you later.